30 seconds to live.
We're going to be together.
You brought out the best in me. This is how I want to live them. Looking into your eyes.
The sixth season, and final season of Xena, we were told, I believe, prior to starting shooting, that this was going to be our last season. And we knew that we wanted to make every episode count. So we went out of our way to not so much get an overall arc, because we said, we're not going to do that. Did a couple things. Went, no more stupid bad comedies, like Fish Sticks, whether it's stupid and bad, but really want to cut back on the comedies. Don't want to deal with the gods as much, especially since we had whacked them all. And do some funner, more things that we traditionally thought of Xena as adventure shows, action adventures. So even though, so there wasn't an overall plan. At the beginning we knew, at the end we were going to do, we kind of knew where we were going to end the series. We debated until the very last minute how it would end.
Amazons. Xena's our friend. We have to talk.
What we really wanted to do was just make quality episodes and not trying to force ourselves back very specifically into, well, it has to fit into this arc. And there was a few episodes we did in the final season that, man, I wish I had back, only because I went back on with one episode to answer the questions from what happened at the end of the third season, and phew, should have just forgot about that problem. Although it was the last chance to work with Kevin Smith, and that was a great. Now with hindsight, it was great to have that episode, so, and then even though at the beginning we said we aren't going to do any comedies. Actually, two of the funnier comedies I thought we ever did were that season. So with You Are There, anyways, so I really enjoyed the sixth season, and for some reasons it's my favorite.
This is one more thing I'd like to say. At least Xena pays her fair, unlike another so-called superhero I know. More like super cheapskate. That's right. I'm talking about you, Hercules. Hercules.
How did you feel when you heard the show was canceled?
I heard it 500 times before it was official. I know. So it was no surprise. It was just like, oh, well, about time they said something official.
Yeah, I think I was aware of it for a long time as well. Mm.
It must have come at exactly the right time for people to take it to heart the way they have. And that's not to put down the show in any way. It's just, and also, please, everybody involved with the show made a great product. I mean, visually, you could turn down the sound and just watch the episodes for the costumes and the sets and the makeup, and, you know, it's just a feast. It's sumptuous filmmaking, but the heart of the series, I guess a lot of people experience searching for their own way through life, and to watch on a historic kind of level that search and quest and wondering taking place. I think it hit women in America, certainly, at a time when they absorbed it and keep it. For some reason, it just doesn't get old.
I'd like to know how much I can get for her. Very nice. Very, very nice.
Am I surprised about the lasting impact of Xena? Not at all. It has just an incredible cult following. I mean, shoot, sometimes late at night myself, I put on my little Xena dress and have my sword, and I'm like, yeah. No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I still get people to this day that will ask me if I'm at the gym or if I'm just wherever. Were you Virgil? They question it more now. Yeah, I mean, because it's been such a long time, they're not as confident as when you're on air and they're seeing it on a week-to-week basis. You know, they're a little bit more, did you play Virgil? And it's like, yes, I did. And that just shocks me. I mean, after, you know, several years, you think that as an actor, you move on, you cherish and always embrace those roles. But, you know, it's part of life. You have to look for that next job. And the fans have just been so loyal, so dedicated, even at the conventions. I mean, they still get great response at the conventions, and it's unbelievable.
Gabrielle, what's your plan?
I get inside Mogador. I kill Gurkhan, and I bring Sarah back.
I'm not at all surprised by the popularity, the longevity, by the pop culture references. I'm not surprised by any of that. Once you start to think about the series and realize the impact, I mean, I think it deserves so much credit. Having such strong female characters, the fighting, just the attention to detail in everything from costume design. I mean, it was just so brilliantly executed, just beautifully done. And I'm not surprised at all. I mean, it's a show that is funny, has a great sense of humor, so self-deprecating. It's a series that's gorgeous to watch. I mean, my God, every time you see a sweeping shot of anything in New Zealand, you're just, you know, it's breathtaking. It's such a beautiful place. The adventures are so fun. The heart and soul still exists. I mean, it's one of the few shows that I think has such a great balance of fun, funny, and that real drama. You know, it had such huge themes that it was dealing with that absolutely I can see why people still love it, still, you know, love being able to watch it and are able to, you know, look back fondly or just tune in and still be entertained, you know, just by reruns. I love that. But no, I'm not particularly surprised. I fully expected it. And I'm so proud to have been part of something that people loved that much.
When we were doing the series, I was convinced we were doing a classic that would be remembered forever. You know, absolutely, I was just completely into that. I was thinking this is something special people will be watching in 50 years. When the series was over, I was a little disappointed how it was over, and people had moved on, and Xena wasn't even the most famous female hero in the world, you know. But as the years have gone by, I think my expectation of an eternal life for the series Xena is beginning to show its success on Oxygen. And believe me, that show does very well for that network, and it's. More and more I hear people make references to it. It was mentioned in an article about classic television I just saw recently. And I think ultimately what I hope for it being perceived as one of the great classic television shows will be fulfilled in the future.
It's actually very cool that it's become part of pop culture. I don't think anybody would have foreseen that.
No.
It just came along at the right time and spawned lots of, not look-alike shows, but, you know, female action heroes, and that's always a good thing.
One of the things that really was remarkable with Xena, and to a lesser degree with Hercules, is they actually touched people, affected their lives, made them happy or sad, or helped them want to write or do something to, and you never expect that, you never plan for that, and the fact that that happened, and to this day, 3 years after the show has ended, people are still interested in it, that's something that money can't buy, and it's, I'm glad for it, and I'm glad that the people have found some way through these shows to make minor improvements in their lives or to be a little happier with their lot in life. So, you know, Lucy, a week ago, visits with Make-A-Wish Foundation children, and that continues on and on and on. And so I'm glad that it's had that positive impact, but it's not something you could ever plan or want to do. It's not in the Bible of a show.
Xena, when will you learn? I've already beaten you twice.
It's once. But who's counting?
I don't want to take a lot of credit for something that maybe the series doesn't deserve, but in my mind, certainly so. You know, you can look at Wonder Woman and stuff, but she still seemed a little girly for a Wonder Woman. There was nothing girly about Xena, and I think it was with utter relief that women turned to look at her and went, yes, wouldn't I love to be able to do that in my real life? Wouldn't I love to punch my boss and kick this? Which, you know what I'm saying? I think it happened at a time when women were embracing that kind of freedom. Xena kind of paved the way for these action women. Look at Jennifer Garner on Alias. She kicks butt with the best of them, and I think, now I should take something back. Emma Peel on The Avengers. She kicked some very graceful, fluid butt, you know? I mean, she really did. She was pretty tough for her day, but not since that character. And it's funny, it doesn't seem like, while The Avengers certainly has its followers, not to the extent, and the life of this series, the continuing life, is what's amazing to me. And I just think it's because we tapped into something at exactly the right time. It's timing, timing, timing.
Without a doubt, I think that Xena broke some ground and is utterly, I don't think there's any way you can look at the series and not think that it's responsible for the way that women are portrayed in TV and film now. I mean, that was the only series that had a female action, you know, any kind of female like that in the title character. And now, I mean, think of how many series, from Alias to, I mean, specifically, I've heard Drew Barrymore give credit to Charlie's Angels, credit for her developing Charlie's Angels to Xena, that, you know, she doesn't think that it would have happened if it wasn't for Xena, that just showing people that an international audience can embrace a character like that because it's unique and different, and it's so not a victim role for a female. It's someone who's empowered and changing history, and absolutely, I think that just how popular it was, how much people liked it, I think it's had a huge impact, more than we ever realized at the time.
I am surprised at the popularity of the show. I mean, when I got the show, I had no idea it would be as big as it is. It's much bigger than I could possibly imagine or have hoped for. I am not surprised, though, that it's stuck so long, even though it's been off the air for 3 years. There was something very magical about that show. I mean, the writers, the way it all fell together, it was a very special show. And I think it has influenced It's definitely influenced television. No, I'm sure even movies, that women are more warriors, more warrior-esque, more fighting, more action. They're involved instead of the weak heroines, which that's boring. It's been done.
When we first wanted to do Xena, Sid Sheinberg, who was running Universal at the time, really said Hercules is where we should be. You concentrate your effort. He said, I did Bionic Woman. It had no value in syndication after its initial run. He said, female action heroes just don't traditionally work. And for the most part, up until that time, besides Cagney and Lacey and Charlie's Angels, no one was doing female action heroes. And it was a very tough sell to station groups that this would work. And it was only that it was so solidly a companion piece to Hercules, and that it kind of got pushed forward, and we were promised, hey, we'll interweave the two shows, and it'll be kind of a seamless 2-hour block. And with that, people were willing to take the flyer, but it really paved the groundwork for future female action shows. And now nobody thinks about it. Alias and 10,000 other female action shows come on, and you can go in and pitch those, and people won't say, hey, those never work. But when we were first there, it was only not particularly my vision, but the vision of other people who I was working for, that they kind of backed us on this idea.
Down there, hurry up. Xena! Are you all right? Couldn't be better.
Incredible. You have beaten Odin.
Don't rub his nose in it. You know, you could have saved yourself a world of trouble if you just had coughed up the fruit in the first place.
My pain is almost over. Eat. Then you can destroy me and your victory will be complete.
Gotta move on.
How didn't the show affect your life, you know? Or where didn't it impact your family or your personality, you know, and like building character, stamina? Yep. How did it affect your life? Well, so many ways, so many levels, huh?
Test your mettle.
Notoriety, you know?
People always expect me to be enormous now.
Do they?
Yeah, they think I'm a female wrestler. I have a curiosity value. When I go to meetings or something, people come down just to look at me because they think I'm going to be far more exciting than I am.
I had been there 7 years. I had first gone down to New Zealand in June of 1993 to start prepping for the Hercules telemovie. So that was my 7th year. I think I had a little bit of 7-year itch. We had just finished doing Cleopatra and Jack of All Trades as well at the same time. I was getting very tired. I had just shy of 300 hours of television under my belt in 7 years, and as most people can tell you, that's a lot to...
That's a lot of TV.
It's a lot of TV. So I think it was just, I knew that I had to break, and because our Xena season and our Cleo and Jack season ran at completely different times, it wasn't like earlier when Hercules and Xena would both start in April and sort of finish in February, and there was a clear-cut place. So I had a discussion with Rob and said, look, I think I need to go. For my own sanity, and let's pick a time that is going to be the most convenient. And so he was wonderfully supportive, and so I basically gave 6 months notice from January 1st through June 30th. So even though we knew that we were going to be into the season of Xena, Cleo and Jack had just finished, so at least one of our shows, which was the one that needed probably much more care and attention at the time because it was a brand new show. Both of them were brand new shows, and we were trying the half-hour format and a lot of things that were new. It felt like that was the best time for me to make my break. And knowing that Chloe Smith was going to be there, leaving it in incredibly capable hands, you know, it was a machine that was running itself almost at the time.
I think New Zealand's so special, and now that it's so publicized with Lord of the Rings and Xena, it would be a shame if it becomes more Americanized, because it's such a special place the way it was.
I knew one day Xena was going to come to an end, and when that day came, I wasn't surprised, and it didn't pull the rug out from under my feet. It really spurred, certainly me, and I think RJ at that time, and Lucy and Renee to go, we want to make this the best in that we possibly can, and perhaps at times we tried too hard. So it was sad, but you always knew it was going to come, and I never fooled myself that it was that this was the rest of my life I was going to be making Xena. So, so I enjoyed every moment and enjoyed the creative process that and freedom that we had, and knew that that syndicated television world was already crumbling by the last season of Xena. It was crumbling by about the 4th season of Xena, as UPN and WB were taking up prime evening airings, and nobody was pulling the ratings to support making shows for that. And that's the only place that you get 22 or 44 episodes. So, so I enjoyed it for everything it was worth, and never fooled myself that that situation would ever be recreated in my life. So I was sad when it was over, but glad for the experience.
Rob was terrific. I must say, everybody on the show brought their best all the time. I mean, everybody gave 100%. And I think, again, it was the show itself that engendered such loyalty and such willingness to go 110% in conditions that were often, you know, pretty dreadful. Yeah, and Rob, I mean, quite honestly, Rob was Xena. He carried the vision of that world in his head and knew what he wanted. And I hope we gave it to him. We sure had fun trying.
Do you have any regrets about scenes you wanted to have done differently, or?
Yeah, oh, well, one that comes to mind, I'm sure there are many. The scene in Who's Gurkhan, now that it's fresh in my mind, coming out of the house with the rainstorm and the lightning. I remember we're supposed to react to the lightning and the rainstorm. And I'm marching out of the house, and I'm talking about, you know, the blood and the bloodlust. And it was very Shakespearean. Don't you remember that?
Oh, that scene, yeah.
Yeah, that scene. I just remember it being so over the top. You know, I know Michael loved it, but
because Michael's a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, he likes the commitment to the drama.
So she was like doing Greek acting.
No, I was committed. I was there for you, Michael. You know, so,
we had a good laugh about that.
We did. I still do.
Abyss was my last episode of the show. And I had no clue it was going to be my last. What had actually happened was they had asked me, there was a possibility that I was going to come back and do more. But I had finished up The Abyss, had auditioned for something else, another series, and wound up getting the other series, and it started almost immediately. So I couldn't go back and do Xena again because I was locked under contract for this other series. And it made me kind of sad because I never got a chance to go back and say goodbye. I mean, the first chance that I saw everybody was at a convention. And it was sort of awkward because I thought, you know, here I'll be back, you know, within a month. And it never happened. I mean, they tried, they checked my availability 2 or 3 different times, and it just never could work out because I was up in Vancouver filming for, you know, sometimes 6 to 8 weeks straight, and I could not get back over to New Zealand. And it really bummed me out because I would have liked to have tied up all the loose ends with Virgil, put some sort of ending to the character instead of just kind of like, yeah, what happened? He was there, he's never been mentioned again. So, you know, that would have been nice.
came to me in my dreams, and I thought it was reality. Now you come to me in reality. It feels like it's a dream. Either way, I'm filled with joy.
Was it hard to leave?
Yeah. It was very hard to leave after 7 years. I remember getting off the plane for the first time by myself in New Zealand, and I had been scouting for Hercules, you know, investigating all over the world where we should take this. And I remember getting off the plane in New Zealand for the first time, and within about 6 hours, I felt that if given the chance, this would be the perfect place to make this television series. And always felt a real affinity to the people and to the project and everything else. So leaving after 7 years, something that you sort of, you know, build from scratch is very difficult.
Yeah,
But,
and it was, I mean, it was an amazing, it was a community, you know, that you really built, and then it just kept growing and growing because it was, at one point we had Hercules, Xena, and Young Hercules going all at the same time, and we were even doing projects on the hiatus, and then Cleopatra, and it was
a machine that was sort of sucking up film, like there's no...
that's right. Sucking up film and breast pads.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Wonder bras. I don't think that there was ever a time once we started rolling on Hercules and Xena that we had more than maybe a week or two at one time that we weren't rolling film, either second unit or one of our other, you know, 2-hour movies, Amazon High or Young Hercules or anything like that. So it became a, and I think one of the reasons why the shows are so good is that all of us really cared about them. So it's hard to, I think you either have to walk away completely or you're never quite out of it. And 7 years of certainly, the later years where we were doing Young Hercules at the same time was an enormous rock on the shoulders. So, and both of my children had been born in New Zealand, which we're very happy about. And they were getting of school age, and there was a lot of personal reasons, but I think the main reason was the 7-year itch of 7 long years, exactly.
I hate you.
Who's Gurkhan? That was a cool episode because it was one of those times where you saw the hero of a show do something so unspeakably awful and unexpected at the end when she walks away from Gurkhan, having murdered him.
I wavered. RJ never wavered. Because I kind of pitched him, we were going to kill Xena and this is how it was going to happen. And he howled and thought that was a great idea. And then I kept backtracking and going, well, maybe we should bring her back. And Gabrielle went, no. And Lucy, the same thing. No, we never take the easy road. Let's, so I wavered, but Lucy and RJ were strong for me. And I actually, I don't know if it would have made a difference if we had brought her back. Some fans would have been happy, but I think the casual viewers who are, they all liked that episode. So I was happy that I had people around me who wouldn't let me out.